Welcome to another episode of the Mortgage Pro podcast, and today we're joined by a mortgage pro himself, Mr. Tomas Honor.
Hello.
How you doing, mate? You all right?
Yeah, really well. Thank you. Yourself?
Yeah, good. Where are you actually in your home office?
I am in my home office, stroke spare bedroom, so nothing too glamorous. But yeah, I guess that's the good thing about in the industry that we're in is that you can work from anywhere. So yeah, I'm literally in our spare room, stroke home office.
Yeah, mate. Well, you can see what I share. Oh, wrong way. You can see what I share mine with.
Yeah.
The playroom. So I think we've all got it, haven't we? At the end of the day.
That's it.
So thank you for coming on the podcast. I just want to have a little chat around your journey and what it's been like, because I know it's been a roller coaster of one, without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah, for sure. No, thank you for having me on. I'm really excited to do it, and happy to have a chat and share my story.
Cool. So before we get into the mortgage side of things, then, what was your first job?
First job was working for a company called Reebok. You'll probably remember. Sports brand. Yeah, that's it. So I know you like your sports. So yeah, I worked as a kind of a Saturday and Sunday kid, weekends selling Reebok classics, which were quite popular back in the day when I was a youngster.
Still are in Essex, mate.
Yeah, that's it. I think they're making their way back, aren't they? I think they've come back around again. So yeah, I did that, and then I ended up actually. My brother was the manager, so I think he employed me just to give me a job and get me out of my parents' way. And I ended up quite enjoying it. Did it on weekends only. Then did a few more hours, become full time, and then was a team leader. And it was quite good. There was a good little gang of us in there, and I had some good memories from back then. It's in a big outlet centre where I'm near with my hometown of Bicester. And worked my way up to assistant manager. So that was my first job, and I loved it.
Yeah. And where did you go after there, sort of leading up to the mortgage side of things?
So yeah, there's a chap that I worked with. His dad worked for NatWest, and he got this lad to go over. And he couldn't he was like, look, mate, you can go and work in a bank. It's 9 till 5. You haven't got to work you haven't got to work any weekends. You ain't got to work bank holidays. The money's better than what you're getting in retail. Like, you need to get yourself out of here. So that was it, really. I kind of got onto a few recruitment consultants and just thought, right, I don't really know why I want to work in a bank or building society, other than the reason that I only have to work 9 till 5 and not work weekends. So next thing you know, I was what would I have been, early 20s, rocked up to an interview with a building society, and got offered the job just kind of as an entry level. I think they called them sales consultants, but basically on the counter, opening savings accounts, bit of insurance here or there. And that kind of was my sort of foot into financial services, really.
Which is really weird, because that's exactly the same as mine.
Really? Yeah. I think there's lots of people did it, didn't they?
Yeah, I had temporary contracts and did a few in London and Colchester and pension review. And I was like, they came to an end. I said to my dad, I don't know what to do. And he was like, you like office work, go and work in a bank. They ain't going nowhere.
Yeah.
And same thing, Woolwich, cashier, moved over to opening accounts. Do you want to be a mortgage broker? And hey presto.
Yeah.
Can't get out now.
That's it. I think it gives you a good grounding, though, when you go into what we do now as brokers. I think, that teaches you all the compliance stuff, a lot of the regulation stuff, being used to working within the financial services industry. So, a lot of brokers that I know started off in a similar way. So, yeah, it doesn't surprise me that you did the same.
Yeah. So what made you, when did you actually become a broker?
So I did that so I was in the building society for a while. I was actually there 8 years. So when I left, I was branch manager, and as part of a merger, I was already doing mortgage applications, but on non-advice back then. And we merged with a larger building society who did everything on advice. So I got my CMAP all in the building society, did some advising, but was mainly supervising my staff. I had mortgage advisors working beneath me. And then a similar thing happened to kind of what got me into the financial services in the first place. Was a few of the other branch managers within my network said, it was just after it was back 2012, 2013, when things started to pick up again. And they were like, look, you can become a mortgage broker and earn great money. So a few managers were leaving the building society to go and do that. And then I thought, well, I'll have a little look at this, see what this is all about. And become a broker. Like a whole of market broker, if you like, would have been probably about 7 years ago now.
Yep.
So I was actually working for
2013.
that's it, yeah. So it was a mortgage broker that specialised in self-build finance. So I really chucked myself in the deep end there because I'd been used to just dealing with one lender's criteria, and then all of a sudden I was going in doing whole of market, but doing it in quite a specialist area. So it took a while to get used to it, but I love that job as well because it was really interesting. You know, mortgaging, you know, grand designs. If you've seen those programs where it's like conversion, I've done like converting churches. We've done old water mills. Obviously, the stuff like barns and stuff like that was quite common. But yeah, some really cool, quirky projects. So yeah, I loved that too. I did that for about 3 years.
Yeah. What made you leave there?
So then a job come up in my hometown, quite a well-established mortgage broker. They had a head of sales job. And although I loved the mortgage broker and stuff, I did miss being a manager like I was in the building society. And I felt this was kind of the best of both worlds because it was in for a mortgage broker, but there was also the managerial stuff. So I went along with the interview, got on well with the owner, and yeah, I think same day I got offered the job. It all happened quite quickly, really. I wasn't really looking to go, but this, just sort of fell on my lap, and it seemed like a great opportunity.
Yeah.
So I moved over to the mortgage broker in my hometown. I was there for 2 years as head of sales.
And then you decided to make the transition to going it on your own.
Yeah. So in July 2019, after pretty much 2 years on the nose, I transitioned over. And it was a strange one because, again, it wasn't like a lot of people say, oh, have you always wanted to become self-employed? Was it something you always had aspirations to do? And whilst I'd love to turn around and go, yeah, it's a big dream of mine, and I did it, it was a bit of a weird set of circumstances, and it just kind of happened. A lot of it was out of my hands a little bit, but yeah, next thing I know, I was kind of applying to become an AR and I had my own mortgage brokerage. So it was a bit of a crazy 6 months or so, really.
I know that kind of kills off my next question. And then it was like, what was it like going from employed to self-employed? But I suppose there's probably still a story around that because it was unexpected to a degree. So hit us with that.
Yeah, so I've got 3 kids. My youngest, Winnie, she was born in December 2018, right in the middle of kind of cold and bronchiolitis season. And 11 days old, she got bronchiolitis, which ordinarily isn't hugely dangerous, more dangerous in newborns for obvious reasons. But at worst, you normally spend maybe a week or so in hospital with a little bit of care, but come out to make a full recovery. But we ended up being in hospital for about 6 weeks in total, from the day after Christmas right through to February. We got moved to a specialist children's hospital in Oxford, because the bronchiolitis had basically evolved into some sort of chronic lung disease, and she just couldn't shift it. And she was, she should have been getting better, and she really wasn't. So that was a really tough time for us. My other half was pretty much permanently in hospital with Winnie. My work were great and gave me some time off. And yeah, so it was quite tough, really. And at this point, I still wasn't thinking about, I had no other plans other than to go back and work for my employer, particularly after they had been really good to me, and given me sort of full pay during that time when they didn't really need to have to. But by the time I went back to work, the people that I worked with, the 2 managers there had also been off on maternity leave. So it was not great timing. So 3 mortgage advisors, or 3 people that were authorised to do mortgages, all went off to have babies. The other 2 were female. I was obviously male, so they were off for a lot longer than I was. By the time I went back in mid-Feb, we hadn't worked together for about 6 months or so, for a combination of them being on maternity leave, me being on a bit of paternity before I then went off on sort of parental leave with Winnie. And when I got back, the whole dynamic had just changed a bit. Like, they sort of went in a different direction. I felt like I wasn't really part of that anymore. And it just come to a bit of an abrupt end, really, and actually found myself needing to find a way to bring money into the household quite quickly. So it was a case of, right, what can I do? Do I, apply for another employed role or do something else? And funny enough, I've been listening to your podcast. I've been listening to the Accord podcast and a couple of other industry ones. And it just sort of sowed a seed in my head, really. Like, do you know what? I would quite like to do that. And had a few conversations with networks. Next thing you know, within I had to get it all through quite quickly because I was without any income. And yeah, 6 weeks later, that was it. That was the launch of my mortgage brokerage. And I just wish I'd done it sooner, to be honest. I absolutely love it.
Yeah, it's a lot of people have the fear around it, and there's nothing like selling your own ship if you've been around, if you really want to do that. And I think my dad was always, or is always has always been self-employed.
Yeah.
But if you're used to kind of a managerial role, not just a role doing as a mortgage broker, you're used to an element of freedom and autonomy as a manager, aren't you? Because you're sort of a level up from the doing the do, shall we say?
Yeah.
So it's probably an easier transition, I would think, from management into self-employment, just because you've got a little bit more of a grasp of some.
And I think because where I'd moved around a little bit, so I went into my first role with the specialist mortgage broker Self-Build.
Yeah.
I was just kind of a number of probably a dozen mortgage brokers in there.
Yeah.
And then I went back to the smaller independent to become a manager, but that was although it was a very well established and successful mortgage brokerage, it was still quite small. So I guess it gave me quite a lot of experience in terms of the day-to-day running of a business. So although I always say I wish I did it sooner, actually everything to date has really put me in the best position to make the best go of this, really.
Yeah, everything happens for a reason. I'm a big firm believer in that, without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah.
So one of the things then is how did you initially, you started out self-employed, you didn't have a lead source, you had an idea of how you need to bring some money in, you need to bring them in the break-in, as you said, but how did you initially start getting your leads when you first set up?
So I think like any new business, it was pretty slow to start with, but actually it turned around quite quickly. So everyone was saying to me, look, be prepared, you're not going to get any business for 6 months. You need to basically have, try and just make ends meet for 6 months. And I was like, crap, like I haven't got 6 months of income. Like this could be pretty, dire. But actually money started coming in quite quickly, and it was all really around social media. So obviously I joined Mortgage Pro Academy. That gave me a great into how I should set up the business, kind of looking right back on like core values, structure, pretty much everything that you needed to get it up and running. And social media was a big part of that. And I've always wanted to do videos, educational videos, but never really was afforded the time in previous roles, because it's not, as you'll know, you can't just do a video and get 10 leads. It's a consistent thing. It takes time and takes a few months. So yeah, I just started, for want of a better word, banging out videos. And yeah, I just kind of get, after like one or two, I got a few messages going like, great video, mate. Love that. When my mortgage is due up, I'm coming to you. So not any immediate bites, but just enough to make me know that what I was doing was right. And it was, this is going to work, sort of thing. But then that come, all of a sudden it was, actually people were coming in and they wanted to remortgage and they wanted to do it now. And in the bank account, proc fee coming a month later. And I was like, this is working. So I just did that consistently for, only one video a week. Posted probably 3 to 4, maybe 5 times a week, one video a week. And that built the business quite quickly, I would say. So, within, I don't know, maybe like 3 months, I was earning like a regular income that I was happy with. So yeah, it was good.
Yeah, and I think that is so key when you say that as well, around having the 3 to 4 months. I don't know where this 6-month rule kind of comes in. There's definitely a means to be able to do it quicker than that without, if you're utilising social media. I only have to look at what I pay my advisors in a short space of time, and obviously they're getting some of my leads, but the most recent ones haven't taken any. They've done it off their own back, and I'm paying stuff out from month 1 and month 2.
Yeah.
So it's definitely possible. So one of the things we know is a lot of people have fear around the video side of things. You'd never done them before. Did you have the same anxieties that I did, and didn't watch any of your first 10 because you knew it was going to be like, oh?
Yeah, I mean, my first few, I watched back the other day, actually, a couple of my other ones, and they were pretty awful. Like a lot of it's quite forced, like you almost try and be a bit of a presenter and forced hand movements to try and make it more natural. It was pretty bad. So I'm not going to watch that again in a rush. But yeah, absolutely. It's, and I've now had people, now I'm, what am I on? 9 months down the road or something like that. People now come to me and say, how do you do video? Like, how do you just make it look so easy? And and I'm like, I still don't necessarily feel that way. I feel like they're not as good as they can be. I still feel probably, I wouldn't say as good as far as I'm still nervous when I'm filming them, but it still doesn't come natural to me, let's say. So yeah, I mean, the first few, I cringed putting them out there really bad. I've got all the normal stuff, mates absolutely ripping the piss out of me. Family like, what are you doing? But when the leads were coming in, there was not a better feeling. I tell you, there's not a better feeling than posting a few videos and someone coming back to you and going, I love that, mate. I'm coming to you for the remortgage, or I want to speak to you now. And I was like, I don't care what anyone says. Like, I'm building a business around this way. Like, it doesn't bother me. And now nobody says anything. Like, I got my mates, it don't even get mentioned. Family don't mention anything. In fact, they all tend to approach you on various times and go, oh, you're smashing that, or that's brilliant what you're doing, or I watched your video the other day, it was really interesting. So yeah, definitely it's scary to start with, for sure, but it just gets easier the more you do it.
Yeah, without a doubt. It definitely does. And you've recently just done another little step up as well, haven't you, in doing your first live video, haven't you?
Yes, yeah, first live, although I had the same technical issues that I experienced when you record them not live, but you can't correct it when you are live. So yeah, it was all filmed on what I thought was landscape, but actually just on the wrong angle. So everyone had a bit of a bad neck watching it.
Everyone does it, mate. Everyone does it.
Yeah, it's added to the authenticity of it. So yeah, it was good actually. It gave me the same sort of buzz or feeling that I got when I first started doing video. When you first do it, you kind of really look forward to doing the videos and getting them out there. The more you do it, that fades away a little bit. You become a bit more used to it. But the live gave me that back again. It was like a bit excited, a little bit nervous, pushing yourself. That feeling you get when normally you'd probably turn away from it because you feel a bit scared or a bit nervous. But I like that. I've trained myself to, if I doesn't feel comfortable, then I should be doing it, putting myself in uncomfortable positions. So yeah, did nice. The first live. Well, I did a live the other week, but I thought it was going to be great, and it lasted about sort of literally like 45 seconds because I ran out of stuff to say, and it sort of ended quite abruptly. But then this one, I planned it out a bit more, knew what I was going to say, and yeah, it went on for about 20 minutes or so. Audience got involved, questions, got some good feedback from it again. So definitely going to be doing some more lives.
Yeah, nice. It does make a big difference as well. It's I think I always have some bullet points now. Now I'm out of the home office at the moment. I've got a whiteboard just here, and I just literally have a bullet pointed there, and I can sit nicely with that sort of there, and it all kind of works. But otherwise, I'll have my little pad.
Yeah, that's it. I think everyone thinks it's going to be like some glamorous setup, but mine's like a bit of blue tack on a tripod. Lots of little sticky notes, or most of the time I can't even read my writing what I've put. But it's never that glamorous. But obviously, when you just see you on the screen and it's put together and you've edited it and stuff, that looks pretty good. But yeah, it's pretty basic stuff that I've got to record my videos.
And you do all your own editing as well, don't you?
Yes, I do. Yeah. So I just literally got some cheap software. I pay monthly for it. It doesn't cost the earth, but it's unlimited for subtitles and banners. And then you can cut out any bits where you go wrong. Add your logo on there as well. Just brand it up a little bit. So yeah, it works. It's nothing. I'm not very technical, so I know a lot of people use all sorts of stuff but I just can't get my head around it. Like, I need something really simple. So yeah, it's not like the most flash in the world, but it does the job, and I can use it, which is most important.
Yeah, exactly. And they look good, mate. So you've got nothing to worry about from that point of view. Ever had any kind of critics, hot trolls, or haters, or anything along those kind of lines?
I think I've been quite lucky so far. I post quite a lot in my local groups. So local groups on Facebook, and you get a couple on there. Yeah, sometimes when it's like you always get a few, but nothing too bad. No, nothing really sort of. A couple of things was more around. On one of them was more around the editing, and he actually made a really good point, which was the audio was a lot quieter than the music of the intro and outro, and he complained that it deafened him a little bit because he turned it up to hear me, and then all of a sudden it blasted in with this music and deafened him, which was actually just a really valid bit of feedback. So he was right.
Yeah.
But no, nothing that I can think of that's been too bad, actually. I've got away with it so far, but I think it's coming. Yeah, I know it's going to happen, but I just, I guess it's part and parcel of it, isn't it? You've got to expect it, really.
Yeah, I can attest to, I think, unless you're really putting yourself out there in some of the, I'm getting a little bit more controversial now, in some of the posts that I'm doing and having a few rants and things like
Yeah,
that, particularly with the stuff that's going on at the moment in the economy and Corona and all of that. But I don't get many. You get a few people who disagree and there's a critique,
yeah,
which, like the guy on the video, it's fair. But when you're doing something educationally, everyone worries that they're going to get it. And like you say, you get the banter from your friends and family and all of that. But however many videos and lives I've now done, you just don't get it really.
yeah.
So
And the
if you're doing it
positives
all from
outweigh the
good,
negatives, don't they? If you get one troll to every 2 leads, or even one troll to every lead, you're not going to care, are you? You just
not for
take
the
take it
value
as
of
it
them.
is. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. So so you're posting in local groups, you're doing videos, you're editing your own videos, you've started doing some live videos. Any other means that you use in terms of your lead generation?
I did start doing some blogs. I'll be honest, they're a lot more time consuming because for me, I'm not as good at the way to word stuff. I'm not a copywriter, so I do struggle with that more. Whereas a video, I'm a bit more comfortable with just doing a video, getting on social media. So I have done a few blogs. They're not as regular, but I think soon I want to try and move to getting a blog out a week and a video a week, because I think that will just sort of cover all angles. Because I appreciate that whilst video is great, not everyone it can engage with videos. Some people like to read stuff. So yeah, I've done some blogs as well. I did one about my local area. So there's 2 towns. A town that I grew up in is part of an OX postcode, so it's quite an expensive area to live. There's good train links into London. And there's a town 15 minutes away, which I moved to about 4 years ago, which is an NN postcode, Northamptonshire. And it's a lot cheaper. So basically, everyone of sort of my age group, between maybe like 25 and 40, are all just moving their friends and family to the NN postcode. It's 10-15 minutes down the road, but the house prices are a lot cheaper. So I did an article out, because it's quite topical. A lot of people are doing it. It's a big new build site there. So a lot of people are going that way. And I just wrote an article about it. And I thought, I'll just see what it's like. Put it out, and it got something like 1,000 views in one night, in 24 hours. Put it on at 10 o'clock at night. 10 o'clock the next day, it had 1,100 views on the blog on my website. So it's really powerful, but yeah, it is a lot more time consuming for someone like myself. So I need to just get my head around the best way to do that moving forward, really.
Yeah. It's there's many ways to it. As you probably know, I've just recruited for the first time since 2016 a freelance copywriter for the exact same reason. Jack and I like video. He can edit. I can record, and we're both illiterate.
Yeah.
It's everybody. Writing's a massive part of it. But if you're not good, you're not good. You're better off focusing on what you are. In the same way, for anyone listening who doesn't feel like they can do video, but feels that they could write a blog or a decent post or a LinkedIn article every day, do that, because that's what will make it more comfortable and you'll be consistent at it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So what's next in the Tomas Honor Mortgages then?
So I'm just kind of on the cusp of employing someone, so to help me spend more time to create content. So I think as my business levels have increased now, I've been going 9 months. You kind of have to make a decision, I think, and I've probably delayed it longer than I should have done. I probably should have done this a couple of months ago, but you live and learn, becoming a new business owner. So yeah, what I've found is, as the business levels have increased, it's become harder to push out that content. So I'm going to be employing a personal assistant to help me with the day-to-day jobs that I just, the sort of lower value tasks, and also some editing, doing some more blogs for me, that sort of stuff. So yeah, that's kind of next, I guess, on the agenda.
Okay, and that's so that's going to be a personal assistant. And how are you devising the role for them? You said lower value tasks. What are you thinking of delegating and leveraging out?
So I want to try and focus on the speaking to customers and selling, and where we're going to bring income into the business, essentially. So for them, it's going to be things like chasing my solicitors, chasing lenders for updates. It could be editing my videos, cutting and putting subtitles on those sorts of things. I've just done like a whole list of stuff that kind of I spend a lot of time doing, that I probably shouldn't spend as much time doing, and focus more on the higher value tasks, like speaking to clients, dealing with incoming leads, doing protection calls, that sort of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, best way, mate. You and I are in the same mindset of that. You get rid of all the admin post sale, definitely booking in some of your leads and helping with some of your socials. So yeah, brilliant. How's so that's taken you 9 months in which to get to that point of employing someone.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I know a lot of people have that fear over employing someone and taking somebody on, and oh my God, I'm a business owner, I've now got a business, I'm now in charge of all of these things. How have you got over the mindset of I need to recruit? Especially as you just said that you thought you'd done it too late or could have done
Yeah,
it sooner.
I think I don't think you can necessarily get over. I think it's still a scary thought. Is the reality is that you think, wow, this is pretty serious. Like, I'm actually a business owner now. I'm employing someone. Like, whoa. So I don't. That's not changed. You still have that extra anxiety. You've got to pay someone. You don't want to let them down. You want to make sure you can pay them each month. Is there going to be enough work for them to do? Are they going to do as good a job as me because it's my business? They're never going to, love the business as much as I do. So all those anxieties still exist. But I think I've come to a point where I either say, right, I need to cut down the amount of people I'm going to speak to and the amount of leads I can deal with, and therefore my income's going to basically hit a brick wall, or I need to expand it somehow, kind of, leverage some of that. So yeah, it was just, I had to ask myself the question really is, what do I want? Do I want to just keep it really quite small and just be me? Or do I want, which I'm not saying I've got huge aspirations to grow a massive brokerage. I haven't at this moment in time. That might change. But I definitely want to, I definitely think I can do more. I want to continue to create content. I don't want to stop doing that. And I also want to, I've got a young family. So I've got holidays booked in. And, if you're a one-man band, what happens if you're on holiday for a week? You can make it work, of course you can, but it's about those sorts of things, and watching. I want to spend more time with my kids. So I guess I just had to ask myself the question, and and the answer was, I think I can do more, and to take me to that level, I need to bring someone in to help me, really.
Yeah, and do you think it also comes back to what you said a little while ago about it's almost that next level of getting uncomfortable as well? Do you think that plays a role in it for you? It's the challenge, that challenge of overcoming that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's something that I've done it throughout my career, but more so since I've become self-employed, is learning to embrace that uncomfortableness and actually be like, no, let's just do it. So yeah, I'm learning that. I think in the past, if I'd been a manager in an employed role, I may have gone like, oh, don't like this feeling. Let's not do that. Let's play it safe. Whereas now, I've got a bit more appetite for risk, if you like, just to say, like, not huge risks. They're all calculated, but yeah, absolutely. Just pushing myself a little bit more and seeing what happens, really.
Yeah. And how do you think you're going to actually, I want to say cover the downside, but that's not the right way of potentially doing it. How are you going to guarantee on the back of employing that person that you're going to have the income to support them and you?
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, I can't guarantee it, but what I'm doing now is dedicating set time for content creation, because, in my short space of time I've been doing, I know it's proven to work for me. So, if you're doing something that's working, kind of do more of it, and you should get, it's the same or better results in my opinion. So, yeah, it's just a case of, right, I'm bringing someone in. That means I've got to be strict. I've got to be disciplined. Every Tuesday is going to be my content creation day. So that'll be, a video, working on some blogs, repurposing. But yeah, I guess it's a case of being really disciplined, because otherwise, if I don't continue to create content, or become too busy to it, it'll end up drying up, and then I'll end up creating loads of content again, and it'll get busy, and then I'll stop. And it's, I want it to be more consistent, a nice steady flow of inquiries and leads, rather than busy, quiet, busy, quiet.
Yeah, and it definitely, that consistency is so important from the point of view, like you say, of making content. If you can continue to maintain the same level and put a little bit more out, then you're going to get able to pay for it without a doubt. But the time that you're then saving on one, I've said about it before, is that fact of you've got 3 months worth of pipeline that is your income where it's at now. So on the basis that you take that person on and you free yourself from all that back end sales, and you do one extra post or get one extra lead every month, that's technically going to pay for them.
Yeah.
And it's not that massive jump that everybody kind of thinks it is. It's just that little income tweak.
Yeah. I think when you break it down like that, it is literally like an extra sale a month. And you got to think, if that person frees you up to do one more sale every month, they've covered their costs. The reality is they'll free you up to do much more than that. But
Double it.
yeah, I think when you break it down, it all seems sensible to do it. So yeah, that's next, and it's exciting.
Nice, mate. And what a fantastic 9 months it's been, and a journey that you have been on thus far, without a shadow of a doubt. And equally, you said you don't want to potentially build something massive. What kind of is the goal for you at the moment? To get your admin, to have your holidays, spend more time with the family? Have you thought about an advisor or an ideal number of income that you want to have, or a decent team size that can support it? Or have you not gone that far ahead?
Well, I think when I first started it, because of everything that happened with Winnie's health and me being kind of out of employment quite abruptly, and that didn't end too great, all I really wanted was, I was happy just to get an income coming in, cover the bills and spend some time with Winnie and the boys whilst, they grow up and stuff. But now things have settled down a little bit. Winnie's getting better. She's still under doctor's care, but she is getting much better. She's hitting all her milestones. So, and business has gone much better than I thought it would. I've already kind of changed my tune quite a bit. I never thought I'd even employ a PA to start with, and that's happened. So I definitely won't be ruling out any advisors. I think probably if you come back to me in about 9 months, I wouldn't be surprised if I have one on the books. So yeah, maybe like a small brokerage, a couple of advisors, couple of admin, nothing massive, but yeah, I'd quite like to have a small team, I think, one day.
Yeah, it can give you, we know what it's like, and the people listening to this who are mortgage brokers know what it's like. It's a lucrative industry, and if you can structure it right, then it can be a profitable one, and you can do other things with the money that you make from your business, without a doubt.
Yeah, for sure.
So what's kind of been one of your biggest challenges since you either went self-employed in the last 9 months, other than Winnie obviously being the story with her?
Yeah, I think it's just that kind of big responsibility that sits on your shoulders. So I'm the only earner in the household. So because of Winnie's condition, Sam, my partner's not working. She's got her hands full with the kids. So yeah, it's that you do feel like there's a lot on your shoulders because you've got to make it work. But I actually think that has been a good thing for me, because it's almost like you've got no choice. And like, do you know what? There is no option to fail with this. I have to make it work. And that's what motivates me every day to kind of go, of course there's times when you're a bit like, oh, I can't be arsed today. Like, I just want to go and sit downstairs with the kids or sit and watch something on Netflix or whatever. But most of the time when you get those little feelings of doubt, you just think, no, this has got to work, So that really pushes me on and motivates me. So yeah, on both sides, it's definitely your biggest stress is knowing that everything's on your shoulders, but also that's also my biggest motivation as well.
Yeah, definitely. And the biggest win or achievement that you've had to date?
I couldn't really pinpoint one particular thing, I don't think. I think I'm just really, really pleased with the way it's panned out. It's, I've never run my own business as such, and the way it's come together in quite a short space of time, I feel like, I'm really proud that where I've got to and how it's developed, and the business name and brand that I've built in my local area already. I'm just really, really pleased and blessed of how that sort of all panned out, really.
Yeah. And one thought that's just popped into my head is when you were leaving the employed role to go self-employed 9 months ago, how did you choose the network that you ended up with? How did you know whether they were the right one?
So I applied for it with a few, actually. So I didn't apply with a few. I inquired of all your big networks. So I won't name them, but everyone knows who they are. So I applied with all your big ones. And they all sort of said similar things. They're all quite, quite keen to get me on board and telling me about what they could do and how they were the best network, etc. So it was still quite difficult to tell them apart, other than what other people were telling me were the best. They all sort of said what I wanted to hear, really. But I met with a few, and then I had a few difficulties when I exited my last business as an employed role. And one of the networks really stepped up to the plate and helped me and supported me through that. And it was just the people, and again, I know it's so cliche, but people do buy from people. So I've based my business around me as the brand, because people know me in my local, they know me as the mortgage advisor. They look out for me personally. But when I did the network, the guys within my network were just fantastic. And I thought, they might not be the biggest network. They might not be paying me the biggest percentage. They might not, but to me, to know that they genuinely had my interest at heart and the way they support me through that, I would be forever thankful. And I would, there's no way I'd ever leave the network based on what they did for me.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes a big difference without a doubt. It's so many people talk about the pound signs that they're going to get, or the percentage, or they're driven by the percentage. But as you say, the people that are there, the culture that they have, the elements of the job that they can help with, and the type of business that they're going to help you with. Obviously, you do a lot on social media, so they're clearly good from a social media perspective, which I think networks need to be in today's day and age.
Yeah, exactly. That was one of the things I was really clear with all the networks that I approached was, I kind of had that in my mind, that that's the way I wanted to build my business, was around that. And again, some of them sort of say, yeah, we'll be fine with social media. And I know some good broker friends that are with other networks and were told, yeah, social media will be fine. And then when it actually comes to it, there's a few barriers, or they can't do what they want to do. But yeah, my network, true to their word, have been brilliant. They give me the social media guidelines and say, stick with those. We'll be testing, we'll be sort of checking your posts every once in a while to make sure you're within it. Otherwise, we'll leave you to it. So for me, that was great. Like, that was a big, other than the fact they were great people, that just was the icing on the cake. And they're great with technology as well. They're really, they use all the latest tech. So yeah, I mean, I'm chuffed.
Yeah. And do you think tech's going to be a big one for us going forward?
Well, I'm really happy that, I appreciate that at the time this goes out, we might be in a completely different position. But obviously at the moment we're in and amongst a lockdown, and I'm working remotely at the moment. So my network, we have a fact finding system where literally you can ping them out an email and a text message. They log straight onto the fact find, which is electronic, fill it all out, and then send it back to me. So it's all done online, all done electronically. And without that, even in my last business, they'll be really struggling these times because they just didn't have the tech there. So yeah, I think it'll be a big eye opener for a lot of places to move this way moving forward anyway. But yeah, for me, it's helped me do much more business because I'm not spending loads and loads of time filling out data. I could just send that to the client, they do it, and I'll just focus on what I'm good at, which is recommending mortgages.
Yeah, nice. And do you charge a fee?
Yeah, I charge $495 fixed fee.
Yeah.
Depending if there's a bit more of a complex case, then I have charged $995 on a couple of occasions. But on the whole, $495.
Yeah, you have that consistently across anyone with any size of mortgage, I would assume. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Whether it's like, I've had one last week, it was like a 35 grand mortgage.
The fun ones.
You do think, is it worth, should I charge more for this? But no, just keep it consistent, $495. And then, I've had one recently, 800 grand mortgage. Again, it's $495 for me. So
yeah,
I just think it's just transparent and consistent across the board.
Yeah, fair play, mate. Fair play. So finishing off, have you got one piece of advice for any other broker, whether they're starting out, whether they're at the beginning of their journey, or even further down the line? What would be kind of your biggest thing from your management experience and also your now self-employed experience that someone should consider?
Yeah, I think if anyone's sat on the fence, say for me, it was a bit of a forced hand, if you like. So I kind of had to do what I had to do. If I knew what I knew now back then, anyone that's in an employed role that's thinking about going self-employed or is on the fence, I would definitely recommend that you do it. It's the best thing that I've ever done. I could never imagine going back to an employed role now. So I'd definitely say that. And really, I think social media for me is what I've built my business around. And, I've not spent a penny, I would add as well, on adverts. Everything has been organic. So, you've got this platform which you can build your business around, which is free. It's proven by the likes of yourself, and I've had some success from it as well, and I know other people have. So yeah, go for it, and make sure you're big, and go big on social media.
Yeah, without a shadow of a doubt. Anything else you want to kind of add in that we've missed out that would be valuable to anyone who's listening from your experience?
Yeah, I mean, I can tell everyone that's listening that you've not told me to say this, so I'm going to tell it completely off my back, because I know what it's like. You listen to podcasts, it's like, oh, that's that question's been framed a little bit, but this genuinely hasn't. But as you know, obviously I joined your academy.
I haven't got that on my paper either.
Yeah,
I just thought I'd chuck it in there. I'm
yeah.
not even joking.
I started in July. You'll probably tell me exactly when. I think it was August. It was my first month, basically. I joined your academy. And yeah, it just gave me everything that I needed to build my business around. So, you know, I would recommend anyone that is, I mean, I can only speak from my experience. I know your academy would cover everyone from all aspects. I know we've got brokers in the academy that are, you know, got 15, 16 brokers, and they've been doing it for years, probably longer than I've been born. But for me, I can only speak from my experience, and that is that I've been doing mortgages for a while. I'm a new broker, new business owner. And for me, it's just helped that support network around me to be able to pick up the phone to you or to your team and run things by and just say, right, is that right? I haven't really necessarily had to make the same mistakes that perhaps you did when you were doing it. So, you know, I've kind of completely bypassed a lot of stuff. And yeah, it's just given me a framework and a core to work from, to say, right, you know, use this and then tailor it to you, you know, tailor it to your business and your brand and your values. So I would, you know, again, I can assure everyone, I've not been asked to say this, I would definitely recommend at least have a chat with Gary and the team about what they're doing within the academy. Because for me, I don't think I'd be where I am now as quick as I am now without the academy.
Mate, that's amazing. Thank you very much indeed. And it's just been inspiring to see your journey, and equally the social media posts that you have done and the engagement that you're getting, which, my God, how did I not bring up that before we let you go? Tell everybody about your recent post that we did. We had a little bit of a challenge because of, or I posted around, we had the 3-month payment breaks whilst we're going through this coronavirus thing. And I said to everybody else, go on, post your results I gave everybody an idea in terms of the post they should do, or just said, look, you need to be talking about this stuff in local Facebook groups. And I collated some numbers, and then Thomas came in and showed us one post that literally blew all of us combined out of the water. What did you do, Thomas?
Yeah, it was just like a little light-hearted post about working from home, because it was just before the lockdown when everyone was like moving across and transitioning to working from home. So it was just like a good luck to everyone working from home next week, and then a link to the video of the chap that was live on BBC News, and then his kids kind of wander in and he's trying to shut them out. And yeah, it just kind of went viral, really. It just went mental. So yeah, I can't remember if it was on now, but it's probably like 15,000 views, I think, and 100 or so shares and comments. So, and it was all from my business page. So my name was literally just getting banded around here, there and everywhere. And obviously the likes on my business page went up every single day. It was going around as well. So yeah, it was pretty cool.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is you're doing it from a point of view of you're showing the real you. You're not just doing mortgage posts consistently, but you are, as you said, you're the personal brand. You're Thomas Honor. You want people buy from people. So doing that shows your humor. It shows your personality, and people who like that, people who like you will like you effectively, and people who like that post are going to like your page. And at some point in the future, you'll be the chosen mortgage guy because you did that funny post that had nothing to do with mortgages.
Yeah.
Do you kind of follow that ethos as well?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, and I think that's a lot of the feedback that I've had from people is they say, "Oh, yeah, we just like you," and like, this is me blowing my own trumpet, but that's just the feedback that I've got, is that they go, "Oh, you come across really genuine, and you know we can relate to you." And I think what I didn't add earlier on is that that's the power of video, is because you're kind of pre-selling, warming up the customer. You know, the amount of times that you go into like a client's house and they start talking to you like you know them already, and it's like okay, and they've been watching your videos basically, so they, you know, and it just breaks those barriers down, like the you know, it completely breaks the ice, because you know if they've watched 3 or 4 of your videos, they know a bit about you, what you sound like, what you look like. You know, if I add a bit about my family on my business page as well, put my teeth back in. So, you know, that shares a bit more about what I'm like as a person. And again, I think people just, you know, not everyone's going to like you, of course they aren't, but, you know, people start to like you as a person. And it goes back to what I said earlier on. It's very cliche, but people just absolutely buy from people. So if you can show yourself in true form. And I think when I first started doing videos, I was almost trying to be a bit of a presenter. I went into presenter mode. I was like quite stone-faced, trying to be really professional. The minute I let my guard down a little bit and just wore like, didn't have my shirt on, not literally no shirt, but like didn't have my work shirt on, had like a...
That's a different video.
That's a different video for a different time, yeah. I didn't have a work shirt on, I had like a t-shirt on, and I was just a bit more formal and a bit more relaxed. It shows the real me, and all of a sudden, you know, I got much more success from that. So yeah, and that's why my business is based around my name, because people know me, they recognize me. I'm the mortgage guy from my area. So yeah, for me, it's very much about my personal brand.
Yeah, love it. Perfect, mate. Thank you very much indeed. Really appreciate you coming on to share your words of wisdom and inspire other mortgage brokers on their journey, whether they're starting out or been going for a number of years and, you know, not even doing social media yet. There's still people who have been going for a long time who aren't utilizing it and could be and are missing out. So it's been good I've enjoyed it. So I hope you have.
Yeah, loved it, mate. Thank you so much. Absolute pleasure.
And one final little thought is, obviously this is the Mortgage Pro podcast, and I thought about Pro because perseverance leads to results, which creates opportunity. What does Pro mean to you?
I think for me, Pro is all about being consistent, and for kind of getting yourself out there is being present on as many platforms and as many ways as possible, and giving a consistent message to your audience, essentially.
Nice. Thank you very much indeed, my friend.
You're welcome. Thank you.